Hello, Algebros. We are continuing to solve rational equations. So our next example is going to be 1 over r plus 7r plus 6 over r squared minus 2r equals 10r plus 20 over r squared minus 2r. Right, so my first step, I'm going to factor the denominator. So that helps me see what my least common denominator is going to be. So this first one I can't do anything with, so it's just still 1 over r plus 7r plus 6 over r times r minus 2 equals 10r plus 20 over r times r minus 2. Yes, we could factor a 10 out of the numerator on that last term, but that's not going to really help us solve anything. So if you can see, for our least common denominator, the only term that's missing something that the other ones have is the first term, because you see the second and the third term both have r times r minus 2. The first term just has r. So we are going to multiply this whole equation by r times r minus 2. Okay. And so when we do that, r and r cancel, leaving us with r1 times r minus 2. So we have r minus 2 plus r times r minus 2 would cancel out the whole thing, leaving us with 7r plus 6. And again, r times r minus 2 would cancel out the whole thing, equals 10r plus 20. And now we're down to a linear equation. So we need to combine like terms over here. So r and 7r, negative 2 and 6. So we would have 8r plus 4 equals 10r plus 20. I'm going to move 8r, and that's just to avoid a negative variable. It doesn't matter which way you move. So minus 8r. I get 4 equals 2r plus 20. And now I'm going to move the 20 over. And I get negative 16 equals 2r. Divide by 2. And r would equal negative 8. But we have some restrictions. And we have a restriction when each of those factors in the denominator equals 0. So we have a restriction when r equals 0. And when r minus 2 equals 0, which would be a positive 2. So r cannot equal 0 or positive 2. All right, I hope you pause that at some point to kind of absorb what I was saying and to catch up on your writing. Let's look at one more example. 1 over h plus 7h minus 3 over h squared plus 4h equals 11h plus 22 over h squared plus 4h. All right, so this is really similar to the last one. And if we factor out the bottom, we could get h times h plus 4. And again, we could factor an 11 out of the top, but it's not going to help us in the end. It's not going to alleviate any steps. All right, so I'm going to multiply by the least common denominator, which would be h times h plus 4. And when I do that, h would cancel out that h, leaving us with h plus 4 times 1. Plus h times h plus 4 would cancel out with h times h plus 4, leaving us with 7h minus 3 equals, and then h times h plus 4 would cancel out h times h plus 4, leaving us with 11h plus 22. All right, now we're going to combine like terms. So h, let's do that so they're different. H plus 7h would be 8h. 4 plus a negative 3 would be positive 1. Subtract 8h. And again, it doesn't matter which way you move. You can move 11h. But that would be a positive 3h plus 21, or sorry, plus 22. I got ahead of myself. Minus 22, and we would get negative 21 equals 3h. Divide by 3, and we get negative 7 equals h. What are our restrictions? Well, our restrictions are whenever our denominator equals 0, so when h equals 0, and when h plus 4 equals 0, so that would be a negative 4. So the restrictions would be h cannot equal 0 or negative 4. All right. Again, I hope you paused it at some point, maybe even now that you have it written down, go back and listen again. You can certainly do it the hard way and multiply everything out and then multiply it. I prefer just multiplying by the common denominator and everything cancels out. So one thing that you might be questioning right now is if this already was canceled with that, how are we able to multiply it again? Well, remember, we are distributing this, so we're distributing it to this term, we're distributing it to this term, and we're distributing it to this term. So each term is a new multiplication problem, okay, if that makes sense. All right, happy mathing, and make sure you're asking questions if you have any questions.